The alien ship floated in Earth's orbit like a giant crystal flower. Ambassador Kale pressed his thin blue fingers against the window and stared down at the brown and blue planet below. His heart made 2 quick beats, then stopped for a moment. He was nervous. "Are you ready, Ambassador?" asked his aide, a tall creature with silver skin. Kale nodded slowly. "Send the message to Earth. Tell them the Galactic Council wants to meet them." On Earth, in a gray building in Seoul, Director Minho sat behind his metal desk. The room was dark except for the blue light from his computer screen. He had short black hair and wore a simple black suit. His face showed no feelings as he read the message from Space. The message was long and full of fancy words. It talked about peace and friendship. It said the aliens wanted to welcome Earth into their big family of planets. They wanted to meet Earth's best diplomats and teachers. They wanted to share knowledge and culture. Minho laughed. It was not a happy laugh. "Hiron," he called to his assistant. She walked into the room. She was a young woman with long black hair tied back. She wore glasses and carried a tablet. "Yes, Director, look at this." Minho turned his screen toward her. "The aliens want to meet our diplomats." Hiron read the message. Her eyes got wide. "This is amazing news, sir. First contact. With aliens, we should call the Foreign Ministry right away." "No," Minho said. He stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the city lights twinkled in the dark. "We're not sending diplomats, but sir, they specifically asked for." "They asked for what they think they want," Minho said. "But they don't know what they're asking for. They don't know what humans really are." Hiron looked confused. "What do you mean?" Minho turned around. His eyes were cold and dark. "Hiron, what department do we work for?" "The Terran Defense Corps, sir." "And what do we do here?" We train special soldiers. We hunt dangerous things." "That's right, we make hunters. We make killers. We make the people who do the jobs that normal people can't do." Minho sat back down. "These aliens think Earth is a normal planet with normal people. They think we're like them, soft and peaceful." He opened a file on his computer. Pictures appeared on the screen. They showed monsters and aliens that had tried to invade Earth. Before, all of them were dead. "Every few years, something comes to Earth that wants to kill us all," Minho said. "Monsters from the deep ocean, things from other dimensions, alien scouts, and every time, we send our hunters to kill them first." Hiron nodded slowly. She understood now. "So we're going to give the aliens what they want," Minho continued. "We're going to send our best people to meet them. But we're not sending diplomats. We're sending hunters." Minho opened 3 new files. 3 faces appeared on the screen. The first face belonged to a man about 30 years old. He had a square jaw and dark eyes that looked like they had seen terrible things. His hair was cut very short, like a soldier's. Jinwoo, Minho said, "Special Forces for 10 years. Then he joined us. He has killed 17 different types of alien monsters. He speaks 4 languages. He can kill a man with his bare hands in 12 different ways." The second face was a woman. She looked younger, maybe 25, but her eyes were old and sharp, like a hawk's. Half of her face had small metal lines under the skin. Sora, Minho continued. "Her eyes and ears are enhanced with computer parts. She can see in the dark. She can hear a mouse breathing from 50 meters away. She has tracked and killed monsters on 6 different continents." The third face belonged to another man. He looked normal, like someone you might see on the street. He was smiling in the photo, but there was something cold about his smile, Tae-young, Minho said. "He studies how minds work. He can look at someone and know exactly what they're thinking. He can make people do things without them knowing why." Enemies who talk to him often go crazy. Hiron stared at the 3 faces. "You want to send them to a peace meeting?" "I want to send them to find out what these aliens really want," Minho said. "And if these aliens mean to hurt us, I want our people there to hurt them first." Minho picked up his phone and dialed a number. "It's Director Minho. I have a job for you. How would you like to be a diplomat for a few weeks?" 2 hours later, Jinwoo sat in a small room with Sora and Taeyang. They were all dressed in expensive black suits. They looked like business people, or government workers. But under their suits, they carried knives, guns, and other weapons. "So let me understand this," Sora said. She was checking her earpiece. "The aliens think we're diplomats." "That's right," Jinwoo nodded. "We smile, we shake hands, we ask polite questions. Just like real diplomats. Except we're really gathering information about their weapons, their weaknesses, and their plans," Taeyang added. He was reading a file about alien psychology. "What if they're actually peaceful?" Sora asked. Jinwoo and Taeyong looked at her. Then all three of them started laughing. "Sora," Jinwoo said, "in your experience, what happens when someone claims they come in peace?" "They usually try to kill us within 24 hours, she replied. "Exactly." A knock came at the door. Hiron entered, carrying 3 diplomatic briefcases. "Your covers are ready," she said. "Jinwoo, you're a cultural exchange specialist. Sora, you're a xenobiologist, studying alien life forms. Taeyang, you're a communications expert." She handed them each a briefcase. "Inside, you'll find diplomatic credentials, gifts for the aliens, and emergency supplies." "What kind of emergency supplies?" Sora asked, opening her case. "The usual: poison, explosives, 3 types of untraceable weapons, and emergency rations." "Perfect," Jinwoo said. Director Minho entered the room. "Remember," he told them, "these aliens have been watching our TV shows and our internet. They think they know what humans are like. They think we're just smart animals who learned to use tools. They have no idea that we're smart animals who learned to kill everything that tries to kill us first," Taeyong said. "Exactly. So you're going to let them keep thinking that. You're going to be polite and friendly and curious. You're going to ask lots of questions about their culture and their technology. And you're going to figure out if they're really peaceful or if they're planning something." Minho looked at each of them. "If they're peaceful, then we welcome them to Earth. If they're not, ... double quotes. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. "Understood, sir," Jinwoo said. The next morning, a small human ship left Earth. Inside, 3 hunters dressed as diplomats headed toward their first meeting with aliens. They carried gifts of human art and music. They carried messages of peace and friendship. They also carried enough firepower to destroy a small city. Ambassador Kale watched the human ship approach his vessel. He felt excited and nervous. Soon, he would meet the first humans ever to leave their planet. He imagined they would be gentle scholars and wise teachers. Just like in their movies, he had no idea that Earth had just sent him 3 of its most dangerous predators. The hunt was about to begin. The alien space station was the most beautiful thing Jinwoo had ever seen. It floated in space like a giant glass flower made of crystal and light. Tall towers reached up toward the stars. Gardens floated in glass bubbles between the buildings. Everything glowed with soft, peaceful colors. "Well," Sora whispered, as their ship got closer, "it definitely looks peaceful." "Too peaceful," Taeyang replied quietly. "Where are the weapons? Where are the shields?" "Maybe they really don't fight," Jinwoo said, but his hand moved closer to the gun hidden under his jacket. Their ship docked with a gentle bump. Through the window, they could see a group of aliens waiting for them. The aliens looked excited and happy. "Remember," Jinwoo said, "we're diplomats. Smile, ask questions. Don't kill anyone unless they try to kill us first." "Got it," Sora said. Checking her hidden earpiece one more time. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. Sweet-smelling air rushed in. It smelled like flowers and rain. Ambassador Kale stood at the front of the welcoming group. He was tall and thin, with blue skin that seemed to glow slightly. His eyes were large and kind. Behind him stood 12 other aliens, all different shapes and sizes, but all looking peaceful and friendly. "Welcome, friends from Earth," Kale said. In perfect English, his voice was soft and musical. "I am Ambassador Kale of the Vrex Consortium. We are so happy to meet you at last. Jinwoo stepped forward and held out his hand. Thank you, Ambassador. I am Jinwoo Kim, Cultural Exchange Specialist. These are my colleagues, Dr. Sora Park and Dr. Taeyoung Lee. Kale took Jinwoo's hand carefully. His skin felt cool and smooth. Your grip is very strong, he said, sounding impressed. We humans like to shake hands firmly, Jinwoo replied with a smile. It shows respect. What Jinwoo didn't say was that he was testing the aliens' bones. They felt fragile, like bird bones. He could break Kale's arm easily if he needed to. Sora stepped forward. Next, her enhanced hearing was already working, listening to conversations happening all around the station. Her enhanced eyes were counting exits and looking for hidden cameras. Dr. Park, Kale said, we understand you study alien life forms. How exciting! We have so many species here for you to meet. I can't wait, Sora said sweetly. Her enhanced senses were already telling her about each alien's heart rate, breathing patterns, and stress levels. None of them seemed to be lying or hiding anything. They all seemed genuinely happy and excited. That worried her. In her experience, people who seemed too happy were usually planning something bad. Taeyoung was last. As he shook hands with each alien, his trained mind was reading their facial expressions, body language, and micro-emotions. He was mapping their psychological profiles in his head. Dr. Lee, said a small furry alien with big eyes, we heard, you are an expert in communication. We are so curious about human languages and culture. And I'm very curious about yours, Taeyoung replied. He was studying how each alien reacted to his words, voice tone, and facial expressions. So far, they all seemed honest and open. No one was trying to hide anything. That made him more suspicious than ever. The group walked through the station's main corridor. The walls were made of some kind of clear crystal that showed the stars outside. Plants with flowers in colors that didn't exist on Earth grew everywhere. The air was clean and fresh. This place is amazing, Jinwoo said, and he meant it. But while he admired the beauty, he was also counting security cameras, noting the locations of blast doors, and memorizing the layout. Thank you, Kale said proudly. New Meridian has been our center of peace and diplomacy for 300 years. 13 different species live here together in harmony. No conflicts at all? Sora asked casually. Oh, we have disagreements. Sometimes, laughed a tall alien with silver skin. But we solve them with discussion and compromise. Violence is not the way of civilized beings. The three humans exchanged quick glances. On Earth, any group of 13 different types of people would have had at least 5 wars by now. They passed through a security checkpoint. The alien guards smiled and waved them through without checking anything. Jinwoo noticed that the guards carried no weapons. They didn't even have stun guns. Your security seems very trusting, Taeyoung observed. Why would we need heavy security? Kale asked, looking confused. Everyone here comes in peace. Sora's enhanced hearing picked up conversations happening throughout the station. Aliens were discussing art, science, philosophy, and trade agreements. No one was talking about weapons, military plans, or defenses. Either these aliens really were completely peaceful, or they were much better at hiding their secrets than any species the humans had ever encountered. They entered a large central hall with a glass dome ceiling that showed the stars. Hundreds of aliens were gathered there, all talking and laughing together. When they saw the humans, they all turned and started clapping. The first humans to leave their planet. Someone shouted, "Welcome to galactic civilization. We've been waiting so long to meet you." The crowd pressed closer, all eager to shake hands and ask questions. Jinwoo found himself surrounded by aliens asking about Earth's music, art, and culture. They had watched human TV shows and movies and wanted to know if Earth was really like that. Do all humans really fight so much? Asked a young alien that looked like a walking flower. In your movies, there's always violence and war. Oh, that's just entertainment, Jinwoo said, with a laugh. Most humans are very peaceful. We prefer to solve problems with words, not fighting. The lie came easily. On Earth, even children learn to fight. Every human city had at least 3 different military training centers. But these aliens didn't need to know that Sora was answering questions about Earth's animals. She carefully avoided mentioning that most of Earth's animals were predators that would eat half the species in this room. Do you really have creatures, called cats, that hunt smaller animals? Asked an excited alien scientist. Yes, but they're very small and cute, Sora said. She didn't mention that Earth's cats killed billions of smaller animals every year. Or that humans also had tigers, lions, bears, and sharks. Taeyang was discussing human languages with a group of alien linguists. They were fascinated by the fact that humans had thousands of different languages. How do you communicate if you all speak differently? One asked. We learn multiple languages, Taeyang explained. Most educated humans speak at least 2 or 3 languages. What he didn't mention was that humans learned multiple languages because they had spent thousands of years conquering each other, and knowing your enemy's language was a basic survival skill. As the evening went on, the 3 humans were given a tour of the station. They saw the medical center, where gentle alien doctors healed people with light and music. They saw the science labs, where researchers worked on projects to make life better for everyone. They saw the cultural center, where different species shared art and stories. Nowhere did they see weapons. Nowhere did they see soldiers. Nowhere did they see defenses. Later that night, the humans were given rooms in the diplomatic quarter. As soon as they were alone, they met in Jinwoo's room. Well, Jinwoo asked quietly. I've scanned the entire station, Sora whispered. No weapons. No military equipment. No hidden soldiers. Their security system is designed to keep people from getting lost, not to stop attacks. My psychological profiles confirm it, Taeyang added. These aliens are genuinely peaceful. They don't think like predators at all. They don't even think like prey animals. They think like ... like herbivores that have never seen a predator. Jinwoo sat down heavily. So they're really peaceful, it looks that way. Then why do I feel like something's wrong? Sora's enhanced hearing suddenly picked up something. A faint sound in the distance. A low rhythmic vibration that didn't belong to the station's normal. Operations, do you hear that? She asked. Jinwoo and Taeyang listened carefully. After a moment, they heard it too. A deep humming sound that seemed to be getting closer. That's not coming from the station, Taeyang said. Sora went to the window and looked out into space. At first, she saw only stars. Then her enhanced eyes detected movement in the darkness. Something large was approaching the station. Something that definitely wasn't peaceful. Guys, she said quietly, I think we're about to find out why these aliens needed to meet us. The humming sound got louder. In the distance, emergency lights began to flash. The emergency alarms screamed through the station. Red lights flashed everywhere. The beautiful, peaceful corridors filled with panicking aliens running in all directions. Jinwoo grabbed his communication device. What's happening? Sora pressed. Her face against the window. Her enhanced eyes could see clearly into space now. What she saw made her blood turn cold. Ships, she said. Hundreds of them. They look like bugs, giant metal insects. The ships were black and twisted. They had long, sharp parts that looked like claws and teeth. They moved through space like a swarm of angry wasps, heading straight for the station. Taeyang was listening to the station's communication system through his hidden earpiece. His face went pale. They're called the Devourer Swarm, he said. The aliens are saying it's the worst nightmare in the galaxy. They eat entire planets. Well, Jinwoo said, checking his hidden weapons, looks like our diplomatic mission just changed. The 3 humans ran out into the corridor. Everywhere, aliens were screaming and running. They had no idea what to do. These peaceful beings had never faced real danger before. Ambassador Kale ran past them, his blue skin now white with fear. They're coming. The Devourers are coming. We're all going to die. Jinwoo grabbed the ambassador by his thin shoulders. Kale, listen to me, where are your weapons? Where are your soldiers? We don't have any, Kale stammered. We're peaceful. We don't fight. What about defenses? Shields, barriers. Just the basic energy shield around the station, but it won't stop them. Nothing stops the devourers. Sora was listening to the station's systems through her enhanced hearing. The outer shield is already failing. Those ships are tearing through it like paper. Through the crystal walls, they could see the devourer ships getting closer. The ships were even more horrible up close. They had holes in their sides that opened and closed like mouths. Inside the holes, they could see movement. Things were living inside those ships. The first devourer ship hit the station's outer section. The impact sent vibrations through the entire structure. Emergency lights started flashing faster. Hull breach in Sector 7, announced a calm computer voice. Hull breach in Sector 12. Hull breach in Sector 15. More and more breaches were announced. The devourers weren't just attacking the station, they were eating it. Taeyong grabbed a security alien by the arm. The alien looked like a tall, thin dog with blue fur. Where's your security center? Taeyong demanded. We don't have one, the alien whimpered. We have a lost and found office. And a complaint department. Of course you do, Jinwoo muttered. He spoke into his communication device. This is Alpha Team to Earth Control. We have a situation. Director Minho's voice came back immediately. Report. The peaceful aliens are being attacked by something called the Devourer Swarm. The station has no defenses and no weapons. They're about to be wiped out. Orders. Jinwoo looked around at the panicking aliens. These beings had welcomed humans with open arms. They had offered friendship and knowledge. Now they were going to die because they believed in peace. We protect them, Jinwoo said. Understood. Show them what humans do best. Jinwoo turned to Sora and Taeyong. You heard the man. Time to drop the diplomatic act. The three humans pulled off their suit jackets. Underneath, they wore combat gear and weapons. The aliens around them stopped running and stared. Kale, Jinwoo said to the ambassador, we need you to get all the civilians to the center of the station. The inner core should be the safest place. But you're diplomats, Kale said, staring at their weapons. No, Sora said, checking her rifle, we're hunters. And those things just became our prey. The station shook again as more devour ships landed on the outer sections. Through the walls, they could hear scratching and tearing sounds. The creatures were eating their way through the metal. Taeyong took control of the station's communication system. His voice echoed through every speaker on the station. All civilians moved to the central core immediately. All security personnel, what few of you there are, come to me for orders. This station is now under human protection. You can't fight them, cried a small alien, with tentacles for arms. The devourers have destroyed whole planets. They eat everything. Then they've never met humans before, Jinwoo said. He grabbed a maintenance tool from the wall and tested its weight. On Earth, we're the things that eat everything else. The first devourer creature broke through the wall of Sector 7. It was the size of a small car, with black chitinous armor and too many legs. Its mouth opened to show rows of spinning teeth. It saw a group of alien civilians and started running toward them. Sora's rifle fired once. The creature's head exploded in a spray of green liquid. First kill goes to me, she said calmly. More creatures poured through the breach. They looked like giant insects crossed with sharks. They moved fast, flowing across the walls and ceiling like liquid death. But the humans moved faster. Jinwoo had found the station's maintenance area. He was turning cleaning supplies into explosives and garden tools into weapons. Within minutes, he had created enough firepower to arm a small army. Wusung, he called to a young Vrex alien who had been hiding behind a planter. You said you wanted to learn about human culture, right? The young alien nodded, too scared to speak. Lesson 1. Humans adapt. Jinwoo handed him an improvised spear made from a metal rod and a kitchen knife. Lesson 2. Everything can be a weapon if you use it right. Sora had taken position in the station's cultural center. The room full of peaceful art and music had become a sniper's nest. Her enhanced senses let her track the creatures through the walls. Every shot she fired killed one of them. Taeyong, she called through her communication device. I need the creatures to move in a predictable pattern. On it came his reply. Taeyong had taken control of the station's environmental systems. He was using lights, sounds, and air currents to drive the creatures exactly where Sora could kill them most efficiently. The Devourer creatures were smart, but they weren't used to prey that fought back. They were used to civilized species that ran away screaming. They had never encountered a species that turned their peaceful home into a killing ground within minutes. Jin Woo found the station's beautiful meditation garden. It was full of plants, fountains, and comfortable places to sit and think peaceful thoughts. Within an hour, he had turned it into a maze of traps, explosives, and kill zones. When a group of devourers tried to get through the garden to reach the civilian shelters, they found themselves in a nightmare. Plants had been turned into razor wire. Fountains had become acid baths. The peaceful paths led to dead ends filled with explosives. None of the creatures made it through alive. How are you doing this? Ambassador Kale asked in amazement. He was watching Jinwoo work from the safety of the central core. Simple, Jinwoo replied, setting up another trap. You built this place for peace. We're rebuilding it for war. The battle continued for 3 hours. The Devourer swarmed through hundreds of creatures at the station. Each one was designed to kill and eat everything in its path, but for every creature that entered the station, 3 humans were waiting, and these humans had turned every beautiful, peaceful room into a weapon. The creatures that had terrorized entire star systems found themselves being hunted through corridors by predators that were faster, smarter, and more vicious than anything they had ever encountered. By the end of the 3rd hour, the scratching and tearing sounds had stopped. The emergency alarms went quiet. The red lights stopped flashing. In the cultural center, Sora lowered her rifle. Around her, the floor was covered with dead Devourer creatures. The walls were splattered with green alien blood. The beautiful artwork was ruined. Clear in Sector 1 through 5, she reported. Clear in Sector 6 through 10, Jinwoo replied from the meditation garden. Clear in the security areas and civilian zones, Taeyong added. Through the station's crystal walls, they could see the remaining Devourer ships pulling back. The swarm that had never retreated from anything was running away. Ambassador Kale stood in the doorway of the cultural center, staring at the carnage. His large eyes were wide with shock. You destroyed them all, he whispered. Sora reloaded her weapon and looked around at the dead creatures. No, she said calmly. We just showed them what happens when predators meet apex predators. In the distance, they could see more alien ships approaching, but these were friendly ships, coming to help repair the station and rescue survivors. The first contact meeting was definitely not going as anyone had planned, but for the first time in galactic history, a Devourer swarm had been completely defeated, and 3 humans in torn diplomatic suits were the reason why. The central hall of the station was completely quiet. The beautiful crystal dome above showed peaceful stars again. But inside the hall, everything had changed. Hundreds of alien survivors sat in small groups. They were not talking, they were not crying. They were just staring at the 3 humans who stood in the center of the room. Ginwoo's expensive diplomatic suit was torn and covered with green Devourer blood. Sora's jacket had bullet holes in it. Taeyong's shirt was splattered with alien gore. All 3 of them looked tired but alert, like wolves after a successful hunt. Ambassador Kale stood up slowly. His thin blue hands were shaking. Around him, the other alien leaders looked terrified. These were the same beings who had welcomed humanity with flowers and music just days ago. What are you? Kale whispered. The question hung in the air like smoke. Everyone was waiting for an answer. Jinwoo looked around the room. His dark eyes took in every face, the fear, the shock, the confusion. These aliens had lived their entire lives believing that intelligence meant peace. They had never imagined that intelligence could also mean perfect violence. We're humans, Jinwoo said simply. No, said Vilox. the tall ethereal being who led the Galactic Council. His form flickered with distress. We studied your species. We watched your entertainment broadcasts. We read your literature, your explorers and artists and scientists. We are, Sora agreed, checking her weapon before putting it away. But we're also predators. A young alien named Yuna spoke up. She was from the Corvani species, cautious beings who looked like tall, thin cats. But your movies showed that you hate violence. Your songs talk about peace and love. Taeyang smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. You believed our fiction. You should have studied our history instead. He walked over to one of the station's information terminals. With a few quick commands, he brought up images on the main screen. The images showed Earth's history, humans fighting with sticks and stones, then swords and spears, then guns and tanks, then weapons that could destroy entire cities. This is what humans really are, Taeyang said. We spent 10,000 years learning every possible way to kill each other. We got so good at it that we almost destroyed our own planet several times. The aliens stared at the images in horror. But you have art, protested an alien scientist who looked like a walking tree. You have music and poetry and beautiful stories. Yes, Jinwoo nodded. We create beauty because we know how easily it can be destroyed. We write songs about peace because we know the cost of war. Sora pulled something from her diplomatic briefcase. It was a small glass container with something moving inside. She held it up so everyone could see. This is a earth wasp, she said calmly. Several aliens immediately backed away. A few made choking sounds. One small alien actually fainted. It's just an insect, Sora continued. On Earth, children catch these with their bare hands. But to most galactic species, this little creature is deadly poison. She put the container away. That's the difference between Earth and the rest of the galaxy. What you call monsters, we call Tuesday. Ambassador Kale found his voice again. But the Devourer swarm. They've destroyed entire civilizations. Whole planets have been eaten by them. How many humans died fighting them today? Taeyang asked. None, Kale admitted quietly. How many humans were even injured? None. That's because the Devourer swarm isn't designed to fight predators, Jinwoo explained. They're designed to eat herbivores, peaceful species that run away. When they met real hunters, they had no idea what to do. Vilok's ethereal form was shaking. Are you saying that what we consider the ultimate nightmare in our galaxy is nothing to you? Sora laughed. It was not a cruel laugh, but it was not comforting either. On Earth, we have sharks that are bigger than your devourers. We have spiders whose poison can kill a human in minutes. We have weather patterns that can destroy entire cities. And we live there happily, Taeyang added. We swim in oceans full of things that want to eat us. We explore jungles full of creatures that can kill us in dozens of different ways. We call it vacation. A new voice spoke from the back of the room. Then why did you come here? Everyone turned to look. It was Nari, the station's security chief. She was one of the cautious Corvani species, and unlike the others, she didn't look terrified. She looked thoughtful. Why did you answer our invitation? She continued. If you're such dangerous predators, why waste time with peaceful aliens? The three humans looked at each other. For the first time, they seemed uncertain. Because Jinwoo said finally, predators protect their territory. And their pack. You're not our pack, Vilok said, confused. You invited us to be, Sora replied. You welcomed us into your galactic community. You offered us friendship and knowledge. That makes you ours now. Taeyang nodded. On Earth, we learned something important over thousands of years of warfare. The strongest predator isn't the one that kills the most. It's the one that protects the most. Young Wusung, the Vrex alien, who had helped during the battle, stood up. His voice was small but brave. So you came here to protect us. We came here to see if you were worth protecting, Jinwoo said honestly, and to see if you were planning to hurt us. And what did you decide? Ambassador Kale asked. Sora looked around the room at all the frightened alien faces. These beings had built a beautiful station dedicated to peace and understanding. They had welcomed strangers with open arms. When their own lives were in danger, their first thought had been to save everyone else. "You're worth protecting," she said quietly. "But what about us?" demanded a new voice. A ship had just docked with the station, and more aliens were entering the hall. These aliens looked different, bigger, more muscular, with darker colors and sharper edges. The leader was a tall, powerful being with red skin and black armor. "I am General Corax of the Stellar Hegemony. We reject Earth's membership in the Galactic Council." "Why?" asked Velox, still flickering with distress. "Because they're dangerous," Corax said, pointing at the three humans. "Look what they did to this station. Look at the destruction they caused." "They saved us," protested Ambassador Kale. "Today, they saved you," Corax agreed. "But what happens tomorrow when they decide you're their enemy?" The hall became very quiet. It was a good question, and everyone knew it. Jinwoo stepped forward. He was much smaller than General Corax, but somehow he seemed more dangerous. "You want to know what humans do to our enemies?" "Yes," Corax said, crossing his arms. "First, we try to talk to them. We offer peace. We try to find a solution that doesn't involve fighting. And if that doesn't work," Jinwoo's expression became very cold. "Then we study them. We learn everything about their culture, their technology, their weaknesses, their fears. We map their planets, count their ships, and analyze their strategies. And then we kill them all," Sora said simply. "Quickly, efficiently, and completely." General Corax took a step backward. "But here's the thing," Taeyong added, his voice calm and reasonable. "We really prefer the talking part." Velox looked back and forth between the humans and General Corax. "So what are you proposing?" Jinwoo straightened his torn tie and tried to look diplomatic again. "Earth would like to make a formal proposal to the Galactic Council." "What kind of proposal?" "Let us be your immune system," Jinwoo said. "When peaceful species like yourselves face extinction-level threats, you call us, we come. We handle the problem. Then we go home, and in return, you share your technology, your knowledge, your culture. You help us become better than we are. You remind us that there are things in the universe worth protecting." Ambassador Kale looked around at the other alien leaders. Slowly, understanding began to dawn in his large eyes. "You're offering to be our guardians," he said. "We're offering to be your wolves," Sora corrected. "Wolves don't pretend to be sheep, but they do protect the flock." In the distance, more ships were arriving. Some carried refugees from other Devourer attacks. Others carried alien leaders coming to see what had happened. The news was already spreading across the galaxy. For the first time in recorded history, someone had defeated the Devourer swarm, and that someone was a species that the galaxy was just beginning to understand. "I think," said Ambassador Kale quietly, "we need to have a very different conversation about Earth's membership in the Galactic Council." 3 weeks after the Devourer attack, the space around New Meridian looked very different. The peaceful station now floated in the shadow of a massive human warship called the Iron Diplomacy. The ship was gray and angular, built for fighting. Rather than beauty, Director Minho stood on the station's observation deck, looking out at his ship with satisfaction. He wore a simple black suit, but everyone on the station now knew that simple suits could hide very dangerous people. "Impressive vessel," said Ambassador Kale, who had come to stand beside him. The Vrex diplomat still seemed nervous around humans, but he was trying to be polite. "It's not just a ship," Minho replied. "It's a statement." Below them, in the main hall, the largest diplomatic meeting in galactic history was taking place. Representatives from 47 different species had come to discuss humanity's role in the galaxy. The meeting was not going smoothly. "Absolutely not," shouted General Corax of the Stellar Hegemony. His red face was even redder than usual. "We will not allow a species of predators to police the galaxy." "Then how do you propose we deal with threats like the Devourer swarm?" asked Velox, his ethereal form flickering with frustration. "We'll build better defenses. We'll create bigger shields. You'll die, interrupted a new voice. Everyone turned to look at the speaker. It was Dae-yoon, a human diplomat who had arrived with Minho's ship. He looked like an ordinary businessman, but his eyes were sharp and calculating. The Devourer swarm was just one threat. Dae-yoon continued calmly. Our intelligence shows 17 other extinction-level dangers moving through this galaxy. Space pirates who enslave entire species, plague worlds that spread disease across star systems, machine intelligences that convert living beings into computer parts. He pulled out a tablet and showed holographic images. The aliens in the room gasped as they saw pictures of horrors they had never imagined. Your current defenses, Daeon said politely, would last approximately 14 minutes against any of these threats. You're lying, General Korak snarled. Daeon smiled. Would you like us to prove it? Before anyone could answer, Sora's voice came through the communication system. She was currently aboard the Iron Diplomacy. General Korax, we've just completed a security scan of your homeworld. Your planetary shields have 7 major weaknesses. Your orbital defense platforms are positioned incorrectly, and your military communications use an encryption that we broke in for minutes. Korax went pale. That's impossible. You couldn't have scanned our homeworld without us knowing. We also counted your ships, mapped your supply lines, and identified your 3 most important military leaders. Sora continued cheerfully. Should I read you their daily schedules? The general sat down heavily. Around the room, other alien leaders looked worried. This is exactly why we can't trust them, whispered a small, furry delegate. They're too dangerous. No, said a new voice. It was Woo-sung, the young Vrex who had helped during the battle. They're exactly dangerous enough. He stood up and walked to the center of the room. 3 weeks ago, I was a literature student. I studied poetry and art and philosophy. I believed that intelligence meant peace. He looked around at all the alien faces. Then the Devourers came, and I learned that sometimes the most intelligent thing to do is fight, but at what cost? Asked Vilox. If we accept humanity's protection, what happens to our values? What happens to our peaceful way of life? Jinwoo stepped forward. He had replaced his torn diplomatic suit with a new one, but everyone now knew what he really was underneath. Your peaceful way of life, he said quietly, is only possible because you've been lucky. You've lived in a safe part of the galaxy, where the real monsters haven't found you yet. He gestured toward the images still floating above Daeon's tablet. But your luck is running out. Those threats are getting closer every year. So what exactly are you proposing? Asked Nari, the station security chief. Taeyang pulled out a formal document. The Terra Defense Compact, he announced. A simple agreement. He read from the document. Any species that signs this compact will receive full protection from extinction-level threats. Human forces will respond to distress calls within 72 hours. We will eliminate threats quickly and efficiently. And what do you want in return? Asked Ambassador Kale. 3 things, Minho said, stepping forward. First, access to your technology and scientific knowledge. Second, trading rights and cultural exchange. Third, complete honesty. Honesty about what? About everything. Sora's voice came through the speakers again. No hidden agendas. No secret weapons programs. No plots against other species. If you want our protection, we need to know everything about you. Why? Asked Velox. Because, Jinwoo explained, we've learned that the biggest threats often come from inside. We need to know if you're planning to become the next Devourer swarm. General Korax stood up again. And what if we refuse? What if we don't want your protection? Taeyang looked at him calmly. Then you don't get it. Simple, but what if we decide later that humanity is a threat to us? The room became very quiet. This was the question everyone had been thinking, but no one had wanted to ask. Dae-yoon answered, in the same polite, businesslike tone. Then you can try to stop us. Many species on Earth tried to stop humans over the years. What happened to them? Asked the dinosaurs. The silence that followed was uncomfortable. Everyone understood the reference. But then Woo-sung spoke again. You're asking the wrong question, he said to General Corax. The question isn't what happens if humanity becomes our enemy. The question is what happens if they decide we're not worth protecting anymore. That was an even more uncomfortable thought. Ambassador Kale looked around the room at his fellow delegates. Many of them were species that had never seen real violence before 3 weeks ago. They were artists and scientists and philosophers who had spent their lives believing that civilization meant safety. But the Devourer attack had changed everything. If we signed this compact, Kale said slowly, how do we know you won't change? How do we know you won't become conquerors instead of protectors? Minho walked to the center of the room. Because, he said, we already tried being conquerors. We spent thousands of years conquering each other on Earth. Do you know what we learned? What conquerors eventually run out of things to conquer. Then they turn on themselves. It's a dead end. He gestured toward the stars visible through the crystal dome. But protectors always have more to protect. It's a job that never ends. And you want that job? Sora's voice came through the speakers one more time. We need that job. Humans are predators, and predators need prey. But we learned a long time ago that the best prey isn't something you hunt. It's something you protect from other hunters. Vilox's ethereal form flickered thoughtfully. You're saying you need us as much as we need you. More, Jinwu admitted. You remind us what we're fighting for. Without something to protect, we just become monsters. The debate continued for 6 more hours. Species after species stood up to voice their concerns, their fears, their hopes. But in the end, 39 of the 47 species signed the Terra Defense Compact. 8 species, led by General Corax's stellar hegemony, refused and left. The station. As the last signatures were added to the document, Ambassador Kale approached the 3 original hunters. I have one final question, he said. Why did your government really send you here? Not diplomats, not scientists, not even soldiers. Why send hunters? Jinwu smiled. For the first time since arriving at the station, it was a genuinely warm smile. Because, he said, they knew that sooner or later, we'd need to do what hunters do best, which is recognize other predators, Sora answered, and decide which ones to fight and which ones to protect. Taeyong nodded toward the departing ships of the stellar hegemony. Looks like we found both. That night, as the celebration continued in the station's great hall, Sora stood alone on the observation deck. She watched human patrol ships begin their routes through the galaxy, and she listened to the first distress calls already coming in from species that needed help. Junho. A young human scientist who had arrived with a diplomatic mission joined her at the window. Do you think they'll ever really trust us? He asked. So watched alien families celebrating their safety in the hall below. Children of different species played together while their parents discussed art and science and philosophy, just like they had before the attack, except now they could do it without fear. They don't need to trust us, she said quietly. They just need to know that when the monsters come in the night, we'll be there to meet them. In the distance, Earth's newest embassy was already under construction. It looked like a fortress. Because that's exactly what it was. The galaxy finally had guardians. And for the first time in their history, humanity had found a purpose that was bigger than war. They had found something worth protecting that would never fight back. It was the perfect hunt.